The Crusades, a horribly inaccurate dramatization by Steve Ibsen. The Crusades was a spiritual warfare waged by Christian Europe with the goal to regain control of the holiest of lands known as Jerusalem. To the Jews, it is the site of great temples. To the Muslims, it is where Muhammad ascended to heaven. And to the Christians, it is where their Messiah was crucified. After Christ was crucified, the Romans were all like, shit, all bad, here, you can just have Jerusalem. But then in the 7th century, Islam seized control of the city and stated that all around them were bitches, and stood by their name-calling for 400 years. Finally, some Christians decided, hey, that's not cool, for we are not bitches, and they decided they wanted Jerusalem back. In Western Europe, the 11th century was a violent, unorganized time of petty lordship and lawlessness. Catholicism was the dominant faith, but was losing its popularity amongst the people. Pope Urban II wished to restore faith in Catholicism, but wasn't quite sure how. Meanwhile, the Christian neighbors to the east in Constantinople experienced the same sort of trouble. Some pissed-off Turks were seriously fucking their day up. So, the Byzantine Emperor Alexius decided to buddy up with Pope Urban II to send 300 well-trained knights to Constantinople to help him get the Turks to fuck off. The Pope agreed because he was a bit of a political dick and believed a holy war against Islam would put the Catholic Church back on the map. In November 1095, the Pope performed a bit of a rally outside the city of Clermont, France. Fellow Christian brothers and sisters, the air you breathe is heavy with sin. God has witnessed your despicable acts of looting, murder, adultery, and bestiality, Frank. Now is the time to repent for your wrongdoings by waging a war against the infidels under the banner of the Catholic Church. But what's in it for us? Get out of hell free cards for everyone! Hooray! That's awesome! And so, 60,000 Christian men, women, children, and ponies were off to join the Christian brothers in Constantinople, led by veteran warlord Duke Godfrey of Lorraine. Well, hello. And his younger brother Baldwin, who had an impeccable taste for the bitches. Hey, how you doing? The Crusaders embarked on a hero's journey, and high off their faith, they may have raped and slaughtered a few non-Christians on the way, stealing their supplies and punching their cows and whatnot. They finally arrived at Constantinople, surprised Emperor Alexius, for he expected 300 well-trained knights to fight the Turks, not 60,000 fanatical Christians. But he was a cunning man and decided to use the army to his advantage. Take back my stolen land, and I'll give you all in return these delicious snacks. The Crusade leaders agreed it was a fair bargain, and from Constantinople, the Christians traveled to raid the first enemy city, Nicaea. Welcome to Nicaea, it's nice to see you! And after a 6-week battle, the Christians took over the city. On the way to Jerusalem, the Crusade army experienced ambush after ambush from angry Turkish archers. So they decided to take a detour through the ridiculously steep and dangerous Anti-Taurus mountain, and then soon after were ambushed by the sun. Baldwin's wife died in the extreme heat. Oh no, my beautiful wife! And Baldwin, in a fury of greed and horniness, left with his bitches to murder the leader of the nearby trading city Edessa, taking the city for his own. The rest of the Crusade army headed to Antioch, which was controlled by even more pissed-off Turks. Snacks were running thin for the Crusaders, and they had to improvise a snack sauce. Then, drunk off of horse blood, they found a weak place in Antioch's wall, a location they could climb over and attack. They slaughtered the Turks and took Antioch for their own. Yeah. Soon after, a massive army of Turkish reinforcements arrived to besiege the town back. But one Turkish soldier thought he might have saw a spooky ghost or something. Yeah, he was pretty sure he saw a spooky ghost, and they all screamed and ran away. A glorious victory for the Crusaders indeed, just glorious. The Crusaders hung out for a while, and then headed to Jerusalem. The Crusaders had finally arrived at Jerusalem, which had fallen into Muslim Egyptian power, who attempted to make peace with the Crusade army. The Crusaders replied by catapulting captured Muslims over the wall. An epic battle ensued. Duke Godfrey built siege towers from a pile of wood he found, then used the tower to climb over the back of the wall during the night. The Crusade army spilled in and finally seized Jerusalem under the Catholic banner, and after 3 years and 3,000 miles traveled and hundreds of thousands of deaths, the Christians finally won back the Holy Land of Jerusalem. Hurrah! Until the Turks eventually took it back. The end. Or is it? Oh.